We need to talk about the multiverse because it's a big theme in Phase 4.
I'm a fan of the multiverse in general.
Well, I hate it.
I'm more interested now in them as variants.
I would like to see the mutants introduced through the multiverse.
That's not how I want to see the X-Men done.
I don't know why anybody's interested in putting other franchises into the MCU. I don't, why?
The writing room comes up with great stories, great solutions.
Oh, all the scrolls are good. How are they ever going to do secret?
we know that you have some strong opinions and but we need to talk about the multiverse because it's a big theme in Phase 4. We obviously have some fans who are super enthusiastic about the idea of a multiverse because of the story possibilities that it offers and because of the ability to perhaps bring characters from other parts of the Marvel universe into the MCU as a whole. So you have people who are excited about that prospect, and then you have people who are nervous. Some people who will not be named who plan to boycott the fandom if things go a certain way with the multiverse. But Biz, I want to chat with you just for a few minutes about how do you feel about the idea of the multiverse? First, talk to me about that. And then secondly, how would you feel if they use the multiverse to say bring in Mobius or Venom and make them canon in the MCU? There's a big fandom push to get unification of the Marvel brand and to bring all of these characters together. And some people don't care how it gets done. But talk to me about that just for a sec.
I'm a fan of the multiverse in general. It's always an interesting discussion about what to include and what not to include. I mean, that's what basically DC did with Crisis. Because there was so many storylines, they just had to try and organize it in a way that was more easier to do. That's why they did Crisis, so they could just chop up and pick and choose whatever they wanted to include in the future of the stories in the comics. So I don't want them to include everything, but it will be good to have some acknowledgements, some homages, if you will, like maybe a cameo of the previous X-Men. Introducing the mutants would be cool. It really depends on the writing, though. That's what it comes down to, the writing. I mean, I would like to see the mutants introduced through the multiverse, but anything else, like for example, Spider-Man, sure, with Tobey Maguire and Garfield, I wouldn't mind it, maybe a one-off thing, but just stay around permanently, I'm not as keen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the multiverse in general.
Yeah, I think your outlook is aligned with my own. I'm kind of right on the middle of the fence in terms of whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. It's like we still have to see a little bit more, but you're right. Judicious use of it to pull in some of the high quality stuff makes sense to me. So I want to jump to obviously the man of the hour when it comes to talking about the multiverse, Grandmaster. Can we get your perspective on the multiverse? We know that you have some strong opinions and ideas about it.
Well, I hate it.
And on to our next panelist.
No, I will elaborate, of course, but I absolutely first up, getting characters in through the multiverse is weak sauce, man. That's easy writing. I expect better from Marvel Studios. They have an awesome lineup for of writers. That writing room comes up with great stories, great solutions for problems we don't think of as fans, and well, we fans think a lot about the MCU. So bringing in characters through the multiverse, weak sauce. So that also goes for using the multiverse to connect to old MCU movies. That was also weak sauce. that brings up the movie I fear the most in Phase 4, and that's Spider-Man No Way Home. There's a lot of rumors involved concerning that movie.
Yeah. You don't want to see the Sinister Six assembled from across the multiverse in Spider-Man No Way Home?
No. I will be fine if Alfred Molina plays Doc Ock, but it's like JJJ in Far From Home. Same character, same actor, different iteration. I will be fine with that. I can live with it. I will be fine if they have like a quick view of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man through some kind of multiversal dimension portal, blah blah blah. I have no clue how to say this in English properly, but you know what I mean. I will be fine. What I will absolutely not be fine with if they drag Raimi Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire into the MCU, or Andrew Garfield for that matter. I will be absolutely furious because this is something I absolutely don't want, and I mean it when I say that will be done with the MCU at that moment. Because it will. I love the MCU because it's a pristine, clear universe, all connected, no mistakes, no great
no
continuity.
Shortcuts. No shortcuts.
Exactly.
Right?
And the moment they start to mess with that, it's no longer special to me. And I'm a person who is always overly invested when he likes something. But if I don't like it, I really can drop it the next day and never look back. I mean when I say that No Way Home can be a deal breaker for me. Again,
well, Kevin
what
Feige,
I saw in Loki, that made me optimistic. But I still fear No Way Home, like I feared nothing before in the MCU.
Well, you heard it here, folks. The No Way Home Spider-Man film is causing the Grandmaster some anxiety. Kevin Feige, if you are listening to this, take heed. You will lose someone in the fandom if this doesn't work out the way it should.
I still have a melt stick, and I will come for him.
Uh-oh. Here we go. And then we'll have to put a new head of the MCU, the Grandmaster. You heard it here first. That's the speculation. That's the word on the street. But let me jump over to Stanton to get your thoughts and your response to Grandmaster and your overall thoughts on the multiverse as a storytelling tool in Phase 4.
Yeah, so I am kind of, I guess I would describe myself, best I can tell, as in between sort of Biz and Grandmaster at this point. I am cautious because I've described it as this before, of using the multiverse as what I call a magic hat. If you set it up as something you can just pull anything out of at any point you want, you lose a lot of any value to anything. Like anything can just come back at any time. Anybody can show up at any point that you want. And at that point, like, I mean, what are we even doing? It doesn't really seem to have much value at that point. It's not narratively interesting. It's just anything can show up because I just wanted it to, and I don't find that particularly interesting. So to that extent, I totally agree with the Grandmaster. However, I think they've done a few things here with Loki, and then also with going back to Endgame with when you had Gamora. I like to refer to her showing up from a past timeline where you can explore a different path that a character you already know of took and see how that event changes them. Like, how is Star-Lord going to interact with a Gamora that never knew him and never got to fall in love with him and never had those adventures with him? How is she going to react? And I think that is interesting. I think the possibility of, at least based on the way Loki set up the multiverse, the possibility of Tom interacting with some different Spider-Men is kind of interesting now. I was extremely nervous about that for quite a while, and I still am a little bit, but I'm more interested now in them as variants, the way they've been established in Loki. So I'm not as nervous about it as I was. I'm still leery of saying like all of this is somehow related to the Raimiverse, because I got to tell you, I don't know why anybody is interested, and this goes back to our Quicksilver discussion from a little while ago of I don't know why anybody's interested in putting other franchises that aren't related to the MCU into the MCU. I don't why. Who cares? Like, if you want to have Toby show up as an alternate Spider-Man, all right, that's fine. But like, I don't know why it has to be tied to the Raimiverse. Like, I don't know what anybody's getting off on that about. But the like, if Toby shows up as an alternate, if Andrew shows up as an alternate, okay, that's fine. I mean, I think I would prefer going back to the Gamora example of an idea of Tom playing multiple different versions of himself and seeing him interact with himself and just playing different, like wildly different versions of the character himself. I think that, to me at least, is probably a little more interesting, and you can get some narrative mileage out of that a little bit more. But I don't know. I think overall they're going to be pretty judicious with this. I don't think they're going to go super crazy. I mean, they're going to get some wild territory. They've already started that, but I don't think it's just going to become a free-for-all, so I'm not really worried about it in that sense. I think you're going to see alternate versions of Kang. We talked about that earlier. I think that's going to build and lead to something eventually, where you, again, in the Gamora example, you're going to see different versions that reveal different sides of his personality that all lead to, this is the worst one. And I think that's going to be cool. And I think you can use a multiverse in a very effective way in that matter. I just don't want it to be like, I needed this, so, I just reached through a cosmic hole and I've got what I need. I don't think they're going to do that, so I'm pretty excited about the way they are presenting it.
Yeah, I think that's a very balanced perspective on it. And wherever you have people talking about the multiverse, until we see more, we're going to have this schism in the fandom where people are ready to leave over it. And some people are just really excited for the storytelling potential there. Jeff, I know you've been chomping at the bit to get in on this multiverse action. Phase 4, it seems unavoidable that it's going to be used as a storytelling tool here. And I really want to get your thoughts and your opinions on that. Do you think they're going to be successful? Do you think that this is kind of a shortcut to consolidating some of their other brands? What do you think?
Honestly, this is kind of a weak territory for me as far as like, I'm not, when it comes to my speculations as far as the multiverse and the direction that they're going to go with it, it's almost kind of like, I guess, a little bit above my pay grade. Like, I mean, like, I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do. But like one concept I just can't get along with is like kind of like what Grandmaster said. Any idea that I've had people say to me like, oh well, Marvel's going to use the multiverse to bring the X-Men into like the MCU. I don't want to see that. Like that's not how I want to see the X-Men done. I don't want to see them to coming through the multiverse. It just makes no sense. They're organic characters that even if I don't know how they're gonna like explain it, but they've existed like during like the whole like Infinity Saga, like what I'm saying, like they've been there. Charles Xavier's still he's a living participant of the MCU right now. We just don't know it yet. You know what I mean? Like
that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. You don't want to see Jackman suit up again and jump into the MCU.
Hell no. I don't even understand the hype with that. I don't even get it. Like, he's not going to do it, for one thing. If you haven't noticed, the guy's obviously going in a different direction with his career. You know what I mean? Like, look at the films he's been doing recently, the one that's being promoted right now. It's completely different territory. So, like, he knows that role is done for him. He doesn't need another payday. He's not one of those freaking actors or people, I don't think, where, he's going to cash in one more time or whatever. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
Right.
But bottom line, I think that it's interesting. I think that it's going to be interesting seeing this is a little off topic, but Secret Invasion is one show that we haven't talked about at all, and I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to do with that. Like, I understand it's going to be connected to the Marvels, and I am optimistic about Captain Marvel 2 potentially being a good movie. I am. Like, I want to believe it's going to be better than the first movie at least. It's got to be. But I'm interested in seeing what direction they're going to go with Secret Invasion, the Disney Plus show, and how that's all going to unfold, because I'm not really looking for them to go launch into like real like hardcore Secret Invasion, but if they do decide to go in that direction, it could be very interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be one of their most suspenseful shows, one of their most heavily speculated shows. And Jeff, as always, I really do love where you're coming from with your perspective on this. So totally respect your, sort of bowing out of any multiverse speculation and giving us the real flavor in terms of what you're looking for. Boots on the ground with the storytelling in Secret Invasion. But Stanton, you had a follow-up, and then Grandmaster, we're going to go to you.
Yeah, just two things really quickly. I just wanted I've been cautioning this ever since they started talking about the X-Men actually being in the MCU. This is going to be a difficult choice for them to make, no matter what way they're going to do it. Whether you think they've been around forever, or that they're going to come through the multiverse, or there's some other, or they're just going to start right now somehow, some event like the snap, like made mutant. It's not going to be real. You can come up with problems or ways that it doesn't make sense or something like that in any of those. So I really caution just whatever they're going to do, just kind of let them work it out and see how it plays out, because it's a tough thing to kind of imagine how they're going to do it at this point already. The other thing with Secret Invasion was I think this shows more than anything else, because I remember people like after Captain Marvel came out going, "Oh, all the Skrulls are good. How are they ever going to do Secret?" Shut up. They're
yeah.
You just got to let these things play out sometimes and see how it goes. Like the Marvel, more than anything else, is not like previous comic book adaptations where stuff happens in such a linear order that you'd expect it to happen in the next movie. Sometimes things don't play out for 8 years, and you got to let them happen.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're going with a radical sect of Skrulls. Like you have good Skrulls, and then Secret Invasion is going to be about those Ultra Skrulls who are about that, that invasion life. So I can't wait for that. But guys, man, the multiverse discussion is on fire here. Very spirited, lots of different opinions. And we just have to wait and see. It sounds like the final verdict is we just have to see a little bit more, especially, when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home. And we do hope that Grandmaster chooses to remain in the fandom. Who will take over the board, But that being said, now that I've mentioned the man of the hour, I want to bring up our last topic in our discussion about Phase 4 to close us out on this topic, and with Grandmaster as our sort of talk leader here. A lot of the fans really want mutants. Right?